Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we are going to be talking about one of the poorest design choices in Legends of Runeterra and in card games in general. I just lost a Lissandra game. I'm in game 2. Legends of Runeterra is kind of hard to make content for because there's not really a replay option for all this PvE stuff. So you have to be recording ahead of time to do anything. So I can't go back and get the footage that I didn't get. But I'm going to record this game so you guys can see what I'm talking about. The issue that I have is specifically with I am inevitable. And there are a lot of people I've seen who've said basically that I am inevitable was a mistake on Riot's part, at least for Lissandra in particular. It's very interesting because in the Lissandra adventure, Lissandra herself does not have the option to get every single power that her other followers can. Lissandra, for example, does not get At Last They Awaken, primarily because the game is expected to go on so long that being able to get a Watcher every single turn would be insane for even the best players. But I Am Inevitable is probably the hardest way to fight Lissandra, and I had a really good board last game, and I just got completely destroyed. So let's talk about it, and let's see how it goes. So I'm playing Volibear, and the opponent's power is I Am Inevitable, which is when one of the foe's units survives damage, grant Tough, which is I take one less damage from all sources. If it already has it, grants the unit +2/+2 forever instead. Next up, we have Kneel or Freeze. When the foe summons a landmark, advance all their landmarks with countdown 3 rounds. And then each round after the player plays 3 cards, their cards cost 3 more that round. Then for me, I have Trifarian Might, which is when you summon a 5+ power ally, it strikes the weakest enemy. Vestige of Helia, which is all spells cost 1 less, and all units have Spell Shield forever. Crush, allies have Overwhelm. Starforged Gauntlets, if I'm Titanic, +1 starting mana. Subterranean Thunder 2, when you slay a unit, summon 2 Sigils of the Storm. Sigil of the Storm is a landmark that says Titanic allies cost 1 less. And Sky Splitter, when you summon a Titanic ally, it strikes the weakest enemy. So if I summon a Titanic ally that has 5 or more power, it will strike twice. Let's get started. I'm going to keep Victor and Arm Gearhead. I'm going to attempt to win this game just like I attempted to win the last game, and you'll see how the game plays out. So the opponent, like every champion enemy, starts with a copy of the champion in hand as an additional card. Lissandra has a Titan's Axe, which means that she's a 5/6 with Tough. Alright. So we'll start things up. Oh, no, wait, never mind. She has the attack token. Alright, so she summons Lissandra. Lissandra immediately summons a Frozen Thrall and advances it 2 rounds. So she has a 4 countdown Frozen Thrall. Last game, I was able to kill Lissandra the turn that she was played, but I don't have my Tarkaz the Tribalist right now, so let's see if we can draw it. Looks like we're going to take 5 here. That is unfortunate. Didn't draw Tarkaz off of that. Let's see if we can draw it this time. Nope. Alright, we have 2 Sigils of the Storm now. That's another Frozen Thrall, which means that next turn we're going to see the first 9/9. So we'll play Valhyr's Prophet. We get a 3rd Sigil of the Storm. Now our cards cost too much. And Valhyr's Prophet gives me 1 extra mana every turn. She summons her first Frostguard Thrall. This is a 9/9 with Overwhelm and Tough. I do not have enough mana to play Volibear at this point. So we will play Armed Gearhead number 1, I think. Let's see. I can play 3 of these, but I can't play 4. I can play 4 if I wait until next turn. Alright, I guess we'll play Victor then. Alright, here's the problem. The opponent's going to play Ice Shard. Ice Shard is a 2 mana spell for Lissandra, and it has 2 copies of Elixir of Sorcery. Elixir of Sorcery is copy me with the same targets. Now, Ice Shard deals 1 damage to everything. Both Nexuses and all units. Now, my units have Spell Shield, because I went out of my way to get the Vestige of Helia power. So she will only deal damage to her units, to the Nexus, and to my Nexus. But the problem is, her units have tough. Lissandra has tough based on her own power, and the Frostguard Thrall gets tough from the Chain Vest item that Lissandra gives it. So instead of dealing 1 damage to her entire board, she's going to give her units +6/+6 for 2 mana. So now she has an 11/12 and a 15/15. Now she can do this at instant speed. If I had attacked, then she could have played this when I attacked. Or if she had attacked, she could have played it when she attacked. And worst, if I didn't have the Vestige of Helia spell power, then my units would be getting cleared while her units are getting stronger. Now, I understand this is like an attempt to make the adventure challenging. Absolutely. And I have no problems with Ice Shard having the 2 elixirs of sorcery, and with both Lissandra and the Frostguard Thralls having tough. None of that is a problem. That's just good game balance and strategy. It's clearly intended by Lissandra's deck. Who cares? The problem is specifically its synergy with I Am Inevitable. The addition of extra stats is so hard to deal with, especially when it's in a burst like that. +6/+6 when you're attacking is shocking. That can legitimately, like, completely throw the game entirely off. And if it was something that you had to deal with every single Lissandra game, then the adventure would be balanced around it. But it's not. It's one of 6 or 7 powers that Lissandra can get. So every other time you fight Lissandra, you don't have to deal with this +6/+6 out of nowhere. It's just when she has I Am Inevitable, which is really, really frustrating. All right, we're going to play our Hex Core upgrade. Oh, she's going to do it again. All right, so now her Lissandra is a 17/18. Keep in mind, here's the thing, right? The reason why you want to get rid of Lissandra, you might say, Lissandra doesn't have Overwhelm. What does it matter if you just leave Lissandra on the board? Why is her having a bunch of stats matter? It's because she creates a copy of Ice Shard in the hand every single turn if she's leveled up. So if I just let Lissandra chill, then I'm going to be in a situation where she is giving her entire board +6/+6 and dealing 3 to my Nexus every single turn in addition to her card draw. It's just a losing battle overall. So Lissandra, you should be rewarded for taking Lissandra off the board right away, and it's hard to do that if she's giving herself so many stats so easily. All right, here comes the attack. Fear of the North, so that is a 24/25. And then another Ice Shard. Okay, so I don't even know if I can live. I cannot. That is just straight lethal. Like I did not take any hits until now, except for the 3 damage from her last 2 Ice Shards. Now she's going to play a 3rd Ice Shard while she's attacking. I did not get a chance to play a single card this turn. And that is going to buff her entire board by an additional +2/+2. Now, thanks to the Vestige of Helia, I don't get hit by this Entomb. But if I didn't have it, again, this is something that she can do if I didn't get this, then she could just banish my Victor as well, and then I would get hit for 30. So even if I had 40 health here, I could potentially lose if I didn't have the Vestige of Helia power. There you go. That was way shorter than I was expecting it to be. Like, I got completely destroyed by 3 Ice Shard cards. And what was I supposed to do? I mean, she had a 5/6 tough on turn 1. You know, I could have potentially removed that if I had a good enough hand, but I didn't. And then immediately after the 5/6, she went up to a 10/12. And then she went up to an 11/12, and then a 17/18 with tough. And again, here's the problem, right? It's not just her cards that are buffing her. If I try and hit her units, and I can't kill them in a single hit, I am also going to give her units +2/+2. So in addition to the synergy that she has, I also have to hit through, now I have to hit through a 17/18, and if I have to deal like 9 damage to it twice, guess what? I'm not going to kill it. She's going to be a 21/4 at that point. I would have to hit her for another 5 damage. And if I did less than 5 damage, she would get another +2/+2. So this is... It's fine that the other adventures have it. It's kind of like they're becoming Lissandra, and that's kind of like the theme of all of these different powers, is that all of the units are like worshiping Lissandra as their queen, and they get powers from her and that sort of thing. It's really cool. But for Lissandra herself to have I Am Inevitable is just... It just has too much unintended synergy with her deck. And in particular, it makes the cards, which are supposed to be challenging, and the synergies that she has that are supposed to be challenging, unbearable. So I really think this needs to be addressed at some point. I understand that they're working with a skeleton crew, and they don't really make a whole lot of changes to this game, but they do make a patch every month. So, you know, at some point, you know, we have Swain now. Lissandra isn't the biggest adventure anymore. Doesn't have to be the hardest difficulty. At some point, they should just turn around and say, Lissandra can't get I Am Inevitable anymore. Just, you know, her other powers are great. The All Things Grow Cold, where she just has like huge units that have Fearsome, but it's only one. It's only one per turn. That is reasonable. That's a reasonable level of difficulty. Lissandra immediately becomes a 10/12, which is scary, and she has Fearsome, which makes her more of a threat, but that's where it stops. She's a 10/12, and that's it. And then, you know, you could play the Frost spell, you know, where you get Frostbitten at the start of every one of her turns, and she summons a bigger and bigger wolf pack. That's fine, you know. Lissandra has plenty of ways to Frostbite, so being able to scale up Frostbite and get overwhelmed to compensate with that, it's really good. But, you know... And then the Frost Gathers, where all of her units have +2 extra health. It makes it even more difficult to beat her units, but 2 health as opposed to 6 or 12 health is much more manageable. Again, her units already have tough. So I feel like they just put way too much pressure on decks that need a little bit of time to ramp up to win the game. You know, I understand that Lissandra, you know, is supposed to be a challenge. You should be able to put out a reasonably good board, turn 1, turn 2 to do with this, and you get a lot of powers to help you. Yes, but she has 99 health. So it is intended to be a game that drags out a little bit, which means that, you know, if you have an extra mana, like if you're playing Volibear, if you're playing, you know, Mordekaiser, you should be able to, with that extra mana from the Starforged Gauntlets, have a little bit of time and play the game. And it shouldn't be that her burning your Nexus also gives her board +6/+6. That's what Swain can do, but that's because Swain's broken. So yeah, no, I just there you go. That's my thoughts on the I Am Inevitable Lissandra. It's a little bit much. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.